Welcome to Mind Prosperity. Thank you so much for tuning in with us again. We are so excited about today, and I'm excited about this training, and I'm excited about this teaching. If you want to know more about my personal coaching and training, I have several materials that I'm doing. The last few weeks, we've been focusing a lot on healing childhood trauma. Today, we're going to speak about insecurity. But if you want to know more, please visit our website. Our website address will be on the screen. Please feel free to go visit our website. If you want to speak to me personally for coaching or other information, please send me an email. My email address will also be on the screen. It's great to have you guys here, and welcome as we're going to speak about 6 signs of insecurity, and I'm going to give you 3 keys to overcome insecurity. So what is insecurity? Insecurity is when you constantly doubt yourself. You have these constant feelings of self-doubt, constant feelings of I'm not good enough, constant feelings of I'm not worthy enough. And sometimes when it comes to insecurity, it's not something that's so on the surface, meaning you're not always aware of these insecure feelings and these insecure thoughts. So a lot of the insecurity that a person faces is buried beneath. So a person doesn't always know it's insecurity and doesn't always shows up as insecurity, but there are different ways that it can show up. So I'm going to give you guys 6 things on how to identify or know whether there's an insecurity within you. Then we're going to speak about 3 ways of how to overcome it. So number 1 is avoid vulnerability. So the word vulnerable comes from a Latin word that means to be wounded. So a person that's vulnerable is a person that's comfortable showing their wounds. Now this doesn't mean that a person should show your wounds to everybody out there and put it on a social media platform and tell everybody about their wounds. But an insecure person doesn't show and share their wounds with anybody. They keep it hidden, and they keep it covered up. A lot of times, if people use all of these almost like you can say toxic masculine traits of look at my nice car, look at my nice body, and it's not a problem to have a nice car or a nice body, but it's a problem if you use it to cover up your vulnerability because you want to cover up your insecurity. So an insecure person avoids vulnerability. And the second one is an excessive need for perfection. Now, there's not a problem with having things done right and having things done well, and to say, I do want my things to look nice and I do want things to look perfect. But if there's this excessive need, if everything about me and if everything about others, it's not perfect the whole time, that excessive need, that obsession with perfection, is a form of insecurity, because again the excessive need for perfection covers up what you don't want to show. And then number three, they don't want to seek help. They a lot of insecure people, a lot of times you will tell people, listen, you have to go see somebody, you have to go speak to somebody. There's something you need to get out, and their first reaction is, they're going to judge me, they're going to say bad things about me, they're not going to be happy with me. So they avoid speaking to other people, and this is again comes back to avoiding vulnerability. So we see a lot of insecure people has this cover up about themselves and about things because they want to cover what's happening on the inside. Number 4, they parade themselves. Now, what do I mean by they parade themselves? By parading themselves, I mean they again has this obsession or excessive need for admiration or attention. So, on social media, the photos has to go up the whole time. The profile picture has to change the whole time. I have to show off the whole time. It's like that's the idea of parading a person. So this is something that narcissists do. I'm not saying every single person that's insecure is a narcissist, definitely not. Nor am I saying every single person that parades themselves is a narcissist. But narcissists do that. They parade themselves. They always want to be the center of attention. It's about them. Now, a lot of people think that these people love themselves. They're so arrogant. They love themselves. People who parade themselves and people who are arrogant doesn't love themselves. They actually have a deep insecurity that they are dealing with. All of these external things is just a cover-up. So number 4 is they parade themselves. Number 5, they have a hard time accepting compliments. So if you compliment them, they're always like, no, don't compliment me. They feel very uncomfortable with compliments. They don't have a healthy way of accepting and receiving a compliment. And number 6 is they have a very hard time accepting criticism. So remember, compliments is a good thing, but criticism from the right people at the right time in the right context can also be a good thing. I do have people in my team who actually criticize me. That's why they are there. And they don't criticize me in a bad, like, I hate you kind of way. I just had somebody recently saying to me, listen, we need to change one of your book covers. It doesn't look great. We need to get another idea. That was kind of like a critic or criticizing my book cover, and I was like excited. I'm like, okay, yeah, if we can make it better, I'm excited about that. Not that I'm saying I'm 100% secure all the time, but I am saying that insecure people cannot take criticism, and I want to come back to the place where I say they cannot take compliments because they don't feel worthy of it. And if a person feels worthy of it, they enjoy the compliments, but it's also not this excessive need for admiration the whole time. That comes back to, I believe it's number 4 when I said parade yourself. When they parade themselves, they want this constant attention the whole time. So those are 6 things or 6 areas that indicates insecurity. Before I go on to the 3 ways on how to overcome it, I want to ask you to subscribe to this channel. We are trusting to go to 1,000 subscribers, and you can help us to get there. And you can also help us by sharing this video to people, because it will expose this information to more people, because we do believe, and I do believe, it can help many others. Okay, how to overcome insecurity. Number 1, own it. Don't repress it, meaning don't push it down. Don't act as if it's not there. Own your insecurities. Now, by owning your insecurities, I don't mean sit with that insecurity and be proud of it for the rest of your life. Owning it is like, I do acknowledge it's here. I do acknowledge it's part of me, and I do acknowledge it's something that I have to deal with. Only when you bring it to the light can you deal with it. Sigmund Freud said, the repressed represents the psychological material that is excluded from the conscious mind and is prevented from entering into conscious awareness. So meaning what he's saying is the things that you are repressing are the things that you are not allowing to come into the light. You're not allowing it to come to the surface. And if you don't allow it to come to the surface, you can never deal with it. That means you don't own it. You are burying it. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And this is actually so great on, how many things happen to people and they just like, it's fate, and they don't know it's something hidden, buried beneath. It's an insecurity that pushes good people away, that pushes the right relationships away, that pushes the right opportunities away, and they will just say, yeah, it's maybe fate, or it's maybe just God's plan. And I'm not saying it in some cases that it's not, but an insecure person will keep on doing things like that and blaming it on other things without looking within and owning what's really going on. Number 2, know it's okay to fail sometimes. So insecure people feel very bad when they fail. It connects to not being able to take criticism. It connects to be a parading yourself. They feel like failure is always final, and they're not really resilient because they feel like they're not allowed to fail. And the reason insecure people feel that they're not allowed to fail is failing. They believe failing causes them to be a failure. So failure for them is not just something that happened to me. It's not something that I did. It's something. It's who I am, or it's who I become. And if I am a failure, that means every single thing that I do is going to end up in failure. So why try anyway? But a secure person will say, I failed. I'm going to learn from my failure, but I am not a failure. Failure is something I did. It's not who I am. Therefore, I can get up and go on and make a success of something. John Maxwell said, the only guarantee for failure is to stop trying. So you only fail when you really stop trying. And number 3, sit with the uncomfortable feeling. So for an insecure person, things that are good for them can sometimes feel uncomfortable, because your body gravitates to what feels comfortable, not necessarily to what is good. So for an insecure person, success, real good intimacy with other people, real connection with other people, doesn't feel good, doesn't feel familiar. It kind of like feels unnatural, feels unfamiliar. So a person needs to sit with that feeling until the right feeling becomes familiar. There's something they call ERP therapy, or exposure response prevention therapy. And the best way I can explain it now is, imagine you are afraid of a spider. I know many people don't have to imagine, they're actually afraid of spiders, and I understand that. So imagine exposing yourself to a spider, meaning you look at it, later you start to rub its back, later you start to hold it until you feel comfortable with the spider. That's a very short explanation of what ERP is. You look at something that you're uncomfortable with until you become comfortable with it. Now, for insecure people, they feel uncomfortable with things because they don't really believe that they deserve it. So start to feel comfortable when somebody compliments you. Start to feel comfortable when you achieve a success, or when you achieve real connections with people. Don't push it away the whole time because you believe you don't deserve it. When you fail, I'm not saying be comfortable with failure, but what I am saying is be okay with it. As long as you try it and as long as you get up, that's okay. Be okay with criticism. This is part of what ERP does. It's sitting with that uncomfortable feeling until it feels normal, until it feels comfortable. Well, I hope this information helped you. Thank you so much for watching, and I do believe this is some things that you can apply by yourself, and it will take you forward. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys soon again. Goodbye.